Hi, everybody. I'm attorney Aiden Kramer with the Law Office of Aiden H. Kramer in Colorado. And as I hope you know, you are watching All Up in Your Business. So from my last few episodes, you'll know that we are talking tax. Tax. You guys have a lot of tax questions, and I don't like answering tax questions. So my friends Joseph Lutz and Natalie Lutz are here to answer some of those questions that you guys ask me. I know that you guys have a lot of questions about having a home office. I started my business out of my home, and so as a small business, I know that that's usually where it starts because you have probably limited capital and limited resources, so it's usually easier to start working from your home. And there are a lot of tax implications that come from that. So Joe and Natalie, why don't you guys jump into it and let us know about working from your home?
I'm Joe Natalie, your small business CPA, where a premium small business package does make the difference. In talking about office and the home expenses, Natalie, how do I qualify for an office in the home?
So basically, if you work out of your house, it needs to be your principal place of business. You need to have an exclusive space, and it needs to be on a regular basis.
Okay, let's say I have a business and I have a storefront. So I really have a storefront and an office in the home. Can I deduct those?
Yeah, you can deduct both as long as you do administrative and management tasks out of your home in that exclusive space. And we say an exclusive space, it doesn't have to be a whole room. It can be a little desk or one area. Should probably be a little bit separated from maybe your kitchen table, something a little bit off to the side where your kids aren't hanging out, eating dinner, that you can call your office. And that space can be used as your office in the home. And then once you have that, you can also deduct your storefront as long as you're doing the management and administrative tasks.
So what is the real advantage of an office in the home with a storefront?
The best thing is your mileage. So when you have an office in the home and a storefront, you can deduct your mileage from home to the office or storefront every day and back at 57.5 cents a mile. So you can really rack up some auto expense deduction from having both.
So let's say I have an S Corp and I have a storefront and I have an office in the home. Why is an S Corp better with an office in the home than a Schedule C LLC?
So there's really two reasons that it's better. Number one is audit risk. On a Schedule C LLC, you're required to file Form 8829. It lists everything out for the IRS to see. It lists the total square footage of your home, the square footage of your office, and individual expenses by line item. With an S Corp, we just reimburse the business owner for the actual expense used. We use the same calculation, but we're not telling the IRS this information, so they can't think it's bad. And another advantage is depreciation. So as a Schedule C, you're required to depreciate your home. So that means take an expense for depreciation each year.
What happens when we go to sell my residence and I've done all this office in the home stuff?
So if you're a Schedule C, you'll be required to recapture the depreciation, basically, which means pay tax on it, whether you have taxable gain on the home or not. In an S Corp, there is no depreciation. It's not an actual expense that could be reimbursed. So it's free and clear. You don't have to worry about any recapturing of depreciation.
And so you say on an S Corp, we're taking these expenses. How do we do that?
So we like the business to reimburse the owner for the actual expenses. So figure your business percentage, take that multiplied by your mortgage interest, real estate taxes, rent if you rent, insurance, and utilities. Figure the business percentage of all of those and write yourself as the business owner a check once a month or once a quarter for those expenses. It's not subject to payroll tax or federal withholding, but just kind of makes it easier on the business owner. Do it once a month. It's done.
So it's basically another way to pay yourself without having to pay taxes since you're just reimbursing yourself. Is that right?
Okay. So it's getting cash out of the business that goes to the owner. It's not taxable to the owner, but the business is getting a deduction.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so let's say I have an office, a storefront, 30 miles away from my home office. And yet at my home office, I do work out there one full day a week and probably three other days part-time a week. Now, that seems like it would expose my return. How does that affect everything?
When you're taking that much expense, 30 miles, did you say one way?
Right.
I mean, that's 60 miles a day. At 57.5 cents a mile, we're talking $35 almost a day of auto expense that you're taking. That is totally legal and fine, but just when you are pushing the limits like that, documentation becomes extremely important. So I would definitely have odometer readings for your auto expense every single day. And even sometimes we suggest a little bit of a diary about what you're doing out of your house. So you can just have proof that you're working out of there more than just one day a week, a few days a week, kind of putting in your diary what you're doing at home.
What expenses are deductible when considering an office in the home?
So you would, again, take the business percentage. So you would measure the square footage of the space you're using for the office. You would divide that by the total square footage of the home to get a percentage. You take that percentage times your mortgage interest, real estate taxes if you own, rent if you rent, utilities, and insurance.
Did you say homeowners dues?
And homeowners dues. Actually, too, any repairs and maintenance, even if you have a cleaning person or like a lawn maintenance service, you can take a percentage of that as well.
Wow, really?
Cell phone is a very similar item. Natalie, how do we work with a cell phone?
We like the owner to the business to reimburse the owner for cell phone expense as well. And he's a little more conservative. I'm a little bit more liberal on the percentage. I would say 60 to 75%. A lot of clients tell me I use my cell phone 90% for business. And I'm like, if you think that's a reasonable amount, reimburse 90% of the cell phone.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming in and answering these questions. I know everybody has a lot of tax questions, so I really appreciate you guys helping me out with these. If you have any questions, you can comment them below. If you want some help with your taxes and your business tax planning, I recommend you contact Joe and Natalie. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Aiden Kramer, and I'll see you next time.